So these days it feels like every man and his dog is making content about how to get into the mines, and they're flexing all the money they're making and trying to sell you on some course or some checklist or something like that on how to get into the mining industry. Today's video, I've got nothing to sell you. I'm not trying to sell you on a course or anything, just a basic honest opinion of how I got into the mining industry in Australia. For your run-of-the-mill Kiwi bloke from New Zealand, come over here with no experience. I didn't have an auntie in HR or an uncle that owns a mine site or anything like that. No experience, got into the mining industry, managed to land a job within the mines fairly quickly within a few months. This is how I went about it, and take what you will from it. I think there's some good steps in here that you could probably take in order to get yourself land your first gig in the mines if that's what you're trying to do. So step one, first things first, you must have a valid visa. It's fairly straightforward for Kiwis. We can come on over, no dramas. Get a visa when you land. It's great. It's a great agreement between Australia and New Zealand. You don't have to go through any process. You're good to go, sort of thing. But if you don't have a visa, I'm sorry, there's nowhere away you're going to get up there. A lot of people have working holiday visas and then they get a job in the mines that way. Generally, your working holiday visa might only be good for a year or two, but once you get a foot in the door, if you're good and the company likes you, maybe they might look at sponsoring you down the line as well. But there is I've worked with a lot of Irish crew, a lot of people, like I said, from the UK, a lot of Filipinos and all these sort of different nationalities as well. You're working with people from all over the place, a lot of Kiwis, to be honest, which is great. So yeah, definitely must have that working visa. If you don't have that, I'm sorry, the chances of you getting a job in the mines is pretty much zero. So yeah, that's pretty important. Once you've got that visa, then you also want to make sure you've got your TFN, your tax file number. This is super important, and also a bank account, a super account. These three sort of main things which the employers will ask for. Oh, yeah, give me your TFN, your bank number, you're ready to go. There it is, good to go. Fairly straightforward. If you've got the visa to get all these three things, it takes a couple of weeks. And also an address as well is pretty key. Even if it's only a temporary thing, you might be living at your mates or some sort of temporary living arrangement at the time, especially if you just landed. But it shows that you're in that city, like Perth, for example, which is a lot of fly and fly work out of Perth and WA. Have an address. So people have a phone number as well, super key. Have a phone number and address, ideally in Perth. If it's somewhere else in Australia, oh no, but I'm ready to go. But no, having it in Perth shows that you're there ready to go, so they can ring you up for an interview. You're ready, I'm coming on tomorrow for an interview. Great, you're good to go. So now you've got all those basic things. You've got the visa, you've got the bank account, all that stuff. That's all sorted, great. That's just step one. Step two, start applying everywhere. Get on all the websites, get on Seek, get on any other HR sites and start applying everywhere. Any entry-level job that you're wanting to look at getting into, just start applying. Like, even if it says, mate, you need 6 months experience, whatever, just make yourself a nice CV. ChatGPT can do the heavy lifting on that these days. You don't have to barely write anything. Put in your basics and try and favourite to the job that you're going to. If you're going in as a utility, let's say, working in the camp itself as opposed to working on the mine site, favourite to any other hospitality experience you have. You worked at a bar, you worked as a housekeeper, you worked in the kitchens, whatever it may be, favourite towards that. If you're wanting to go more the blue collar route, work on mine site itself, whereas your trades assistant or whatever it may be, a driller's offsider, then favourite that way. Oh, yep, I've done a bit of labouring and this and that and the other thing. But yeah, it depends what route you're. I was a utility, so I was working in the camp itself as opposed to working on the mine site. I did go to mine site sometimes for cleaning duties and things, but I was going, like I said, I had no experience, went up there as a utility, which is a bit of an all-rounder. One day you might be making beds, next day you're cleaning dishes, next day you're in the laundry, gardening, whatever it may be. There's all these different roles at mine site. Working a lot of bar work as well, which is great. I quite enjoyed the bar work. Good way to meet a lot of people as well, especially if you're looking at branching out and wanting to work on the mine site itself. The bar is a great place to work because you'll get a lot of guys coming in every day. 5 o'clock, they're there ready to go. And they can, put the good word in for you if you wanted to work out on mine site as well. I know a lot of people that sort of gone down that road. They started as a utility and then they sort of started branching out and eventually got a job on mine site as a dump truck operator or whatever it may be that they're trying to get into. Having a driver's license as well is pretty key, so I should have mentioned that at the start, having a full driver's license. And ideally maybe a full driving ticket if you've got that as well, depending on the role. So yeah, start applying everywhere, put the word out there. You might need to get some sort of job to tie you over, just some casual work, at the supermarket or whatever it may be, just until this, because it can take maybe 2-3 months maybe for you to land that first interview. Be realistic about that. You're not going to get a job within a week of being in Australia. You could start applying maybe just before you get to Australia, but it's good to have that address and then have that chance to get that first initial interview. So yeah, once you land that interview, definitely do whatever they say. You got to be here at 9 o'clock in the morning, be there at 9:15, ready to go, looking sharp. Have your resume printed off and any questions they might fire your way. be ready to answer those as well. You're coming in generally 9 times out of 10 with no experience, so be open about it. Don't try and fluff it too much. Look, I've never worked up there, but I'm keen to get into it. Try and tie that back to other roles where you think would be beneficial to the role that you might be going for. Myself, like I said, I went up as a utility, so if you've got a bit of hospo experience, which a lot of people do, especially if they've gone to uni and things, they might have worked a bar or whatever it was during nights to help fund their uni studies, lean into that a bit as well. Generally, if you've got to the stage of an interview and you interview fairly well, there's a good chance you'll get the job. Especially as a utility, the turnover rate is very high, especially in these roles in the camps. People will go up there for a one hitch and that's out. It's not for them, whatever reason. They change their mind, or they don't like it, or it's too hot, or they miss their mum, or whatever it might be. So the turnover rate is very high, especially in these camp roles. And you're doing big days. You're doing 12-hour days, back to back for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks straight. So be prepared for that as well. It's not all just cash money and then going flying to Bali and carrying on. Like, there's work involved in the whole process as well. Depending on the site, some sites are a bit better than others. But yeah, especially for that first hitch that you get, be ready to put your best foot forward. Be positive when you get to site. Say good day to everyone. Start meeting people. Don't be one of these negative Nancy's on site. They're the last person you want to be around, because it can be quite isolating, and people do get a bit depressed at site. It's a big thing, mental health in the mining industry and oil and gas. A lot of people away from their families, and they've been doing it for a number of years. They become quite jaded by it all. It feels like they're just stuck in this Groundhog Day where they're just up at site doing 12-hour days, and a very little time to yourself. You're kind of just sharking along, which it can feel like that a little bit sometimes, but try and keep that positive mindset. Have a goal or something prior to going up there, why you want to do it, and these sort of things will help you get through those years or however long you want to stay up there for. So now, let's say you've landed a job up there. Take whatever job you can. Don't feel like you have to take on a straight management role. If you just want to get up there as a utility, just start scrubbing pots. Don't feel bad about that. I did it for a good number of years. It's good money, and it gets you a foot in the door. And then once you get up there, you could start upskilling and start meeting new people and start maybe looking at going to different roles up there on the mine site itself or offshore, whatever it may be. But just get that initial foot in the door and then sort of go from there. And then on your R&Rs, start upskilling, start getting other tickets, especially if you wanted to go more down the blue collar role and make a real career out of this, become a driller or whatever it is that you may want to do. You're going to need some tickets for this, some high risk tickets. So start looking at getting you working at heights, your confined spaces, your basic rigging and dogging, and then start intermediate to advanced, start working, scaling all these up, basic scaffolding. All these sort of tickets will put you well ahead of the pack, let's say. And especially if you've paid for all these tickets yourself, you're ready to go. It shows that you're keen. It's not like, I need you to pay for me to do all these courses. You're going down that road, it'll take you forever or maybe never get there. But if you're showing, and they're not cheap, but you can get tickets for $1,000 to $2,000 depending on the course you might be doing. It's an investment in yourself, especially if this is something you really want to make a career of. Then go down that road, or just stay in the utility role, which is predominantly what I did. I did start upskilling, and I did start doing some of these high-risk tickets, and then more offshore tickets to get offshore. But that's another, I may even make another video about working offshore. And then get these tickets, and then you can start applying for these other roles, and then it shows that you have some experience. I've been up at mine site, I worked up there for a couple of years as a utility, but I'm keen to sort of get on the tools now and maybe start working as a TA, trades assistant, or whatever it may be. And it shows that you're comfortable with the lifestyle, you don't mind the heat. Working in 40-degree heat, a lot of people can't handle that. It is hot. The flies, everything. It's not all sugar-coated up there. I'm trying to paint more of a realistic picture, not just show a stack of cash of how much money you've made working in the mines. The best friends to make friends with is the recruiters and HR. These are the people you want to keep on your side as well. Don't piss them off. Like, be ready to go at a moment's notice, especially if it's just casual work. A lot of the first sort of jobs you might get will be casual. There might be shutdowns as well, for example. Good way to get in, especially if you're looking at more of a blue-collar role, is start working these shutdowns, which happens every year or two on these big mine sites. The mine or the site will actually shut down for a period of time, maybe a month or two, or they have to do a lot of routine maintenance on a lot of the equipment. They'll get maybe another 300-400 guys on site just to get through all this maintenance, because the time that the mine's not producing or anything, they're losing money. So they're trying to get this job done as fast as they can. So they'll get as many people on site as they can, get the job done in a safe but efficient manner, and then they can start back to producing whatever it is that's iron ore or oil and gas or whatever it may be. Then they're ready to go, keep rolling out operations. So this happens quite regularly as well. So this is a great way to sort of get a foot in the door, especially if you want to go down that blue-collar role. Myself, I was more, like I said, working in the camp, so this sort of happens all the time. You get into quite a routine with these sort of roles where the camp's always sort of ticking over. But sometimes, obviously, if there's need another 300-400 guys on site, they'll need a lot more casual crew to cover that as well, especially on the camp as well. So like I said, another good way to get up there. Just, yep, put me in the dishes, I'll wash dishes, whatever it may be, just to get your sort of foot in the door there. And then once you've got a bit of experience on your belt, then you can be a little bit more picky and choosy who you talk to, jobs you take, and you can be, but initially I would be ready to go. It might be your cat's birthday or something. You've got to be, I'm sorry, I can't make the cat's birthday, I've got to get up to site because this job's come up. And then if you've got a family, have to have this chat with your family as well. Look, this is something we need to do as a family or whatever it may be. Have these sort of chats early on so you're both on the same page when it goes coming up to mine. So you don't want to be up there and then your wife or your partner or whatever it may be back at home sort of missing you or whatever, because this makes a bit of a strain on the relationship and then also on the job as well, because you're constantly thinking, oh geez, something's going on back home. So get all this organised before you actually get up there, I feel. So there's a few recruiters and things you can talk to. I'm just going to rattle off a few here depending on which role you sort of want to go down. Initially I would start, if you're looking at the utility stuff, ESS, which is a company I work for, which is a big group called Compass Group. They have a number of different roles. I'll leave a link to the website in the description below. That's a good one if you want to go in as a utility, as an all-rounder, let's say. But they have a number of different jobs across all of Australia, all over the world actually. They're one of the biggest hospitality companies in the world. Sodexo is another one. I've worked for both. I've worked for ESS and Sodexo and also a couple other small operators over the years. They're all much of a muchness. The pay is pretty comparable across them. Some are better, some are worse. I don't know. You figure it out. But once you start working for one, they're all pretty much singing the same tune. Then there's some other ones more. If you want to go down the blue collar role, you could chat to Hayes. Hayes does a lot of these shutdown sort of jobs. They're more of a temping agency. But like I said, get you that experience, especially you got the tickets and a bit of experience, then there's a good chance you can start picking up shuts. I know a lot of guys, they just work the shuts, and that's all they do. Especially if they've worked in the game for a while, they'll just pick up an odd shut here or two a year, and that'll keep them going, sort of thing. Programmed is another one, program marine as well, if you want us to sort of start working more on the oil and gas side of things. There's a number of different recruiters in Perth. Just do a Google search, or even ChatGPT will spit out a number of different guys to talk to, different companies around town. Anyway, that's just the basics of how I got into it. Like I said, there's no course or no pamphlet or brochure or checklist to sell you today, but if you've got any questions, drop it in the comments below and I'll do my best to try and cover off on those. Or if there's anything you want me to sort of go a bit deeper on, definitely drop that as well and I'll make a follow-up video. I'll probably do another follow-up video on how to get offshore, which is something I ended up doing eventually. Worked in the mines for a couple of years, or not, about a year or so, and then started going offshore as well. Anyway guys, that's it for this one. Till next time, we'll catch you in the next one.